So the weatherman said it'll be clear skies. Cue the music.
Tell me lies, tell me sweet little lies.
It is April the 12th, 2024, and we are 5 days from what was supposed to be the end of the world, i.e. the eclipse. That was fun. That was good fun speculation. But this is a bit of an update because my last update on chemtrail video was back at the beginning of the year, I think, and it's been nothing. It has been dull weather, awful crap, mild but wet, and the sky was completely covered. And I had my time-lapse video going all night, and I thought, oh great, clear blue sky, I can finally see the stars. And then suddenly this morning, I think, hold on, I can't really see, the sun's in my eyes. There is a plane up there laying. Oh, I can't see. Where are you two? Can you see all that? Hold on, wait a minute, let me zoom out. Yeah, about 4:30 this morning they started doing their rounds. Now, this is the only day so far in the beginning of the year where it's been heavy. A heavy spray day. Well, it's only the morning, we're only 10:30. But here they are doing their rounds. And I thought it would be a good documentary. Oh, look at that, we actually have a halo around the sun. Look at that. A typical spray day. Yeah, nice. It was great, yeah. I'd had high hopes this morning. I thought, oh, great. And finally do a bit of gardening, a bit of sunshine, which we so desperately needed. And then suddenly, bang. Have that. Yeah, check that out, it's like a what's it. You know what they say, X marks the spot. What's good here, I can show you, it's got a very fine mist. Now I believe that's high altitude cirrus clouds, otherwise there's high altitude ice crystal clouds. That is almost made like a white sheen. Now I can tell you now that is not done by chemtrails, i.e. these trails here, because I have my time-lapse video going and I can figure out where this white mist has come from. Now science would say, okay, there's moisture in the atmosphere, a massive pocket of moisture, and obviously the moisture rises up from the ground, lifts up, and it reacts with the atmosphere, and which forms sort of like water droplets, but high altitude cirrus clouds. So this would be about above 25,000 feet. And the trails are more or less at the same level. Because if you have a little look here, you can just about see the black line where the plane has cut through the cloud. Now people would say, oh, that's just a black chemtrail. It's not, it's a shadow. And that can be backed up by various photographs throughout the decades on cloud formations. Or secondly, this is done deliberately on purpose. So far, it appears today that this is what people would consider a spray day. But you need to ask yourself this question as well. It's only 10:10 in the morning. It hasn't blocked out the sun because I can clearly see the lights shining on the tiling. I can feel the heat on my body. So it's not necessarily blocking out the sun. Now, in regards of the spraying earlier, it hasn't made any difference now. Now, obviously it's traveled down south in that direction, and it might have spread out like this. But is that white sheen to do with chemtrails? Don't know if you can see that. It's producing no contrail or chemtrail. Out of the beginning of the year, this is the only day so far. Look at it now. Oh, it's gone fucking bananas. And look, there's a halo around the sun. Can you see that? God, I had high hopes. I thought, oh, great sunshine. It is entirely covered in a white mist. Nevertheless, I really had my hopes up. I thought, God, we're gonna have nice sunshine. I'm gonna come out and do my gardening. I just don't quite get it, because I checked the weather every day through 3 different websites, and I always check the humidity, because that is what most likely creates the contrail to form. Okay, just going by what the science says. The past couple of weeks has been exactly the same, 70 to 80%. Now, if the humidity is above 68%, then that is enough for a trail to persist, from what they say, what science says. But the conditions have been the same for the past couple of weeks. The humidity has been above 80, sometimes 86%, like today. So why isn't it like today, really, really heavy spraying happen past couple of weeks, when the weather conditions have been exactly the same? Am I missing the point here? Because it's a complete whiteout, an absolute whiteout, and it's going to be like that for the rest of the day. But today's been interesting. It makes me think. Days like this makes you think and go, okay, I need to question things more. Why are we getting trails today when the atmospheric conditions has been the same for the past week? Look at the size of that chemtrail. It's fucking huge. So, final conclusion. My hair looks like Tintin. Look at it. Anyway, it's been a very interesting 4 days, 5 days I should say, when we're supposed to have sunshine, for blue sky, and for 4 days it's been shit. Today, mixed bag. It's been hit and miss. I think it's worth me going through my old collection of books and find out really what's been, if I can actually figure out whether or not what we've been seeing in the sky has been happening before. Okay, so I said many times on the show, especially been paying attention to any of my work, chemtrails has always been 50-50 for me. I'm not ruling out they want to block out the sun, because what we saw the past couple of days, 4 days, has been very, very clear sign, but hasn't achieved it throughout the whole day, except yesterday when I was in Glastonbury, when it was just absolutely heaving. It was, I mean, here's some photographs of it. It was just total whiteout, and it has been that for 4 days, but it hasn't, like I said, done the full achievement of blocking the sun the full 12 hours. So we'll see. We'll keep an eye on it, but you've got to bear in mind those 4 days, you know, is that going to make any difference? But is that going to save the planet? Is that going to cool down the planet? No, not really. You'll have to do it on a massive scale if you are going to achieve solar engineering. For instance, they sprayed really heavily in Scotland, and then, for instance, where I live in the southwest, or the West Country, and that moved all the way down west. Eventually it will spread out, get bigger and bigger and bigger, and eventually we'll probably get like a big whiteout like that. Okay, I am on Google Earth
Now, don't take this model seriously. It might not be accurate, okay? But let's, for the sake of argument here, and what I'm going to explain to you, my thoughts on chemtrails about blocking out the sun might be a bit too far-fetched, okay? So let's just take this model for what it is, okay? And let's zoom into England. Okay, let's just say they've blocked out the whole of England, even Ireland as well. So the whole UK and Ireland is blocked out by the sun by chemtrails, okay? So let's zoom out and take that premise of geoengineering, solar radiation management. So let's keep a look at England, it's covered in chemtrails, and ask yourself this: is that going to make a difference to the planet of actually cooling it down? Even Australia, imagine Australia being covered in chemtrails. Is that going to cool the planet? Look at all this water here. I mean, the oceans produce 10 times the amount of CO2 than the public puts out, like worldwide. Volcanoes produce 3 times the amount of CO2 than we do every year. So just by spraying the whole of England isn't going to achieve sod all of climate change, of saving the planet. Remember that, guys, it's saving the planet. No, it's not. It's to do with flipping control.
Let's just take this scenario and just hear me out, okay? Because I mentioned this once on my last chemtrail video I've done. If the global elite, for instance, the World Economic Forum, Klaus Schwab and all them gang, twat waffles, as I like to call them, if they're the ones implementing legislation that restricts humans on freedom, essentially, for instance, can't drive a petrol car or any cars, will have to go electric, 15-minute cities, can't grow food, restricted on travel. I mean, those 5 things alone sounds like control. Doesn't sound like saving the planet at all. Okay, so straight off the bat, we can say those 5 things and a lot more is all to do with control, right? So let's take that scenario of the whole idea of climate change and need to implement these legislations to help save the planet. They know that as control, okay? So let me ask you this. Why are they spraying chemtrails? To block out the sun. I'm pretty sure the people at the World Economic Forum know that global warming, man-made climate change is a load of nonsense. I think they're using the excuse of, oh, we must save the planet, so we have to restrict your freedom to do that, to implement their legislations. Again, we're talking about restrictions of freedom, and that is so clearly obvious. Many years since 2007 really sort of clocked my eye when I really researched into it. It wouldn't surprise me if they did or have done a spraying program in the past. And I would say this, from 2008 to I think like 2009-10, chemtrails were a lot lower than it was. And I know the scientists will say, oh yeah, but the atmospheric conditions, because it's more humid down a few thousand miles down from where it normally would form a contrail over 36,000 feet. But I've got footage of planes actually spraying that is a lot lower. Actually, I'll put a video on here now so you're going to have a little look. And this was taken, I think, 2008-9. And that was the year where they sprayed heavily, and I mean heavily. And it was so noticeable. So this is my analysis for this video. I shall be doing them continuously throughout the year, especially on the days when it's extremely heavy with chemtrails. I think it's worth analyzing because those are the days that are most noticeable. Now, I should stress that my conclusion or my thoughts about chemtrails is a very mixed bag, okay? I've been looking into chemtrails since 2007 when I became part of the truth movement, or conspiracy theorists, as people like to call it. You need to sort of branch off and have a look at sort of both sides, because when you're sort of new to the community, to the truth community, especially new to chemtrails, you tend to go off on what people say on social media, which is every time there's a trail in the sky, it's going to be blocking out the sun. Now, sometimes I see a trail and it's just one in the sky. I'll probably just see like probably one trail in the sky during the day. I mean, that's not really going to achieve anything, isn't it? Um, so what I think chemtrails most probably is either like a dumping ground for toxins, um, spreading viruses, which is one way. I know it sounds a bit far fetched, but if you Google Operation Sea Spray and what they were doing to San Francisco, and there's obviously a lot of proof out there that Britain was a testing ground for biological weapons straight after World War II. So saying that chemtrails don't exist, you must be off your fucking tits. Right, I'm rambling on. Okay. Please like and subscribe, and I shall see you very soon for more content on A Cosmic Twilight.